So here you're at 52 out of 82 supply. You
Hmm.
have 1600 minerals and 600 gas.
Yeah,
And
My overlord's just finished.
yeah, but you didn't start like a tech building. Like your lairs been done for a while. Here's your
Yeah.
spire.
Oh, there he is, that son of a bitch. Well, I had seen that for a few seconds, and so I know I was prepping for that for a few seconds. Um, I'm not sure.
Gosh.
I know I was telling you about the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, it looks like I go really slow, but um, I mean, my APM is like 100 and well, it was up to like 160, 170.
You told me APM doesn't mean shit.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't, but um, the likewise though, trying to watch this camera thing doesn't seem to capture a lot of stuff either. Because I know I don't just sit there and watch like the freaking hatchery. Like I tab through and do my injects and stuff. But I do tab through and like move all my overlords to safe spots, which you see me do quite often. Like that's what I'm doing right now. And then I make sure that I only grab like my 3 drones and do my injects and like a lot of base management and check my upgrades, make sure that I'm getting like the right amount of gas. And I'm pretty much never getting the right amount of gas. And so like you see me choosing my site for my next expansion and making sure my drone gets there and like I was making some more mutas and I needed to like that's 14 out of 8, so I knew I was going to need to move those drones soon. So like I'll tab through like I'm doing now. I'm trying to find a site for the new drones, but I can't move them too soon or they'll all path back and screw it up. So I try to time the movement so they'll path there and not path back. So I only have to move them once, or I'll move them to the next closest one. So I try to find whichever one of those things is the safest, and I try to time all of this between engagements. So I have a, and if you want to pause it for a second, if you go down to my base down here, come on, ping, you'll see that I moved my drones down there because I figured the engagement was starting and it would be safe even though the hatchery wouldn't be done. So those drones will be pathing around for a while, but I figured they'd be safe. And I saved all the money up so during the engagement I could resupply. So I started a bunch of lings and mutas at the beginning of the engagement and banked a bunch of larvae. I don't know how much larvae I have. I should have started the injects before the engagement too. but I didn't. I don't always remember to start larva before engagements, but um, that's how I stay on top of things is Zerg. That's how I am able to repop more than most Zerg, and now I have like a bigger, lasting, like stronger recovery economy, because especially in 1v1s, ZVZ, it's not who has the better engagement, it's whoever has the best recovery. And I know we've talked about this before. It's kind of economy, but it's actually more like a triangle. It's larva versus economy versus overlord supply, right? And as you know, same thing with Protoss too. If you're a dick and kill all the pylons, it doesn't matter if you have 50 warp gates, right? But then if you're an idiot and kill all the workers, and they've got a bunch of money banked, you might just screw yourself, because then they can warp in a bunch of units, which you didn't think about. So then you're in a race to try to go kill their pylons faster than they can warp in units. So with Zerg, you don't have that luxury, because the second they, like that dude a couple games ago with the Roach Warren, if I had killed that Roach Warren, would have saved us a lot of headaches. Same thing with that Spire, but that's why you put the Spire in a really tricky spot. I've lost, and I have won a lot of games due to having the Spire or the Roach Warren for like a split second, and having the Overlords for like a split second, and holding down like the R key or the T key, and having the larva there, and just be able to mass like 12 mutas for like a split second at some hatch they don't even know about. I've done it with Ultras too. And there's no way they can stop them from being built. They don't know about them. And then all of a sudden, they'll total my Overlords, or they'll total my tech, or whatever. But all of a sudden, I've got 12 Ultras out. And it's won us the game. And it's because I do things like this, where I put my Overlords in a safe spot, make sure my drones are always ready at a new spot. It keeps my economy stronger longer. So like this one right here is 6 out of 8, which is really good. This one right here, 15 out of 16. So like when that one's not going to dwindle down yet. This one's 15 out of 16. It's not really going to dwindle down yet. But this one was what, like doubled. So I sent him down here. And then as soon as this one starts to get down, I start another one. And I move half of them before it gets bad. That way my economy stays really strong. Whereas like this genius right here is backwards. That's not how you do it. This genius is backwards. Backwards. Their economy fucking sucks. This fucking idiot.
This guy's 14 out of 16.
Yeah, it's not maximized.
16 out of 16.
I like to have a couple more, but that's because I'm Zerg, and if I need to build something, I don't want to screw myself, which, as you know, I often do. And
What do you mean you'd like to have a couple more? You're 15 out of 16 on these two.
Yeah, I know, and I know I'm not going to use any more now because it's late enough in the game. But you see Mr. Smarty Pants here with 13 out of 8 and a macro hatch with no injects. He's got no larva count. He's got no minerals. he's got no way to resupply, and he doesn't have a strong drone count. So I would have been able to beat this Zerg with just about anything. I mean, his drone count's horrible, and his base saturation's horrible. So, that's what I do. And I mean, your base is 14 out of 8, 11 out of 6. But you're Terran, so...
we get screwed, and I have to eventually take this.
Yeah,
but
and with Terran, I mean, you see the metric, it's like, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, it doesn't matter. So, it's not a big deal with Terran.
I don't know. But, let's see.
So, that's a Zerg thing.
Yes, you can use that excuse for the rest of your life. That will always be the answer.
It's not an excuse, it's...
Dope.
Why do you... Does it just look like I'm slow or something?
When you purposely bank gas, then that's okay for, like, High Templar, mutas, things like that. But, I mean...
And that's exactly what I did.
Banked minerals and gas. The minerals you spend on drones or blings, and then by the time the mutas are ready, which you were late on your spire, I mean, right here, you are 61 supply, I'm 137, their Zerg is 97, and their Protoss is 78. You've asked me before, like, holy shit, how did you max out so early? Obviously, it is different with Terran than Zerg, and I will always say, you know, Terran much easier than Protoss and Zerg for maxing out earlier, because, you know, you just keep your production on a tab and hold down a couple keys. But the main idea is producing constantly. When you're banking and they're not banking, it just means that they're getting more ahead of you. So that is a StarCraft thing, not a Zerg thing. Economy, saturation and whatnot is a StarCraft thing, not a Zerg thing. That is why I said that. So, upgrades are a StarCraft thing. Tech, what not. He gets a Spire, Hydra Den, whatnot. Protoss doesn't know. He got a Robo Bay, but he makes like a couple disruptors. He was bad. But you stay a lot further behind on supply, because imagine if they had pushed like right now. Like, they never really pushed with their whole army. I think they thought about doing so about the same time that we did, and that was when your mutas popped. So, it was all good. But, I mean, this Zerg has 1-1 with 2-2 on the way. Shit ton of Lingbane, Roach, soon to be Hydras. This guy's got a shit ton of charge lots with 3 Adepts that are not going to help him. I mean, maybe I would have just been able to, you know, siege up back here and they would have taken the worst engagement of all time. But we've lost games like that before, where they push with, like, an army. And you're like, oh, well, they killed an army. So, that is why I talk about this.
So, you don't think that I wouldn't have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to make up that supply because, I mean, I don't think I only have like 6 larvae or something at that. Well, I guess which point in time are you talking about?
Hold up. Let's see, the earliest back we can go. I made a really early lair.
Me?
Close enough. Yeah, you.
Well, I wanted to have overseers because the asshole was DT and rushing us.
Okay. Well, the earlier's already done. Let's just go back further. Okay. So, right now, we're kind of doing things over here. But, macro-wise, over here.
There we go. Yep.
You were covering my retreat, I was skilling the base, blah blah blah. But macro-wise, you have 1,700 minerals. And 5 drones on your expo.
Yeah. You're right. It's like impossible for me to do 2 things at the same time. I fix that here in a minute. But right at exactly pretty much at that same time is when we get DT dropped on. Like literally simultaneously, pretty much, is when we get DT dropped on. So after redrone, I was dead on gas for quite a while. You know? So, you know, just to be fair.
Put these guys on gas, and then with the extra banked minerals, make more drones that go on the minerals.
Yeah, obviously.
You didn't do that, though. It's not obviously.
No, I did it. I mean, it takes me like, I guess I don't do it like immediately the second it happens. You're right. I mean, I'm not that fast, but I do it. I mean, if you want me to be faster, that's fine, but I do it. Right? Good.
The faster part of that, though, is that diamond link difference. That, hold up.
Yay!
I had my window open, the cow's out there eating something, I think.
Found a frog.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that speed difference is the Diamond League difference that we are obviously trying to get to. There are people like this, and like this guy, obviously. I don't know how they're platinum. I'm starting to lose respect for the Platinum League. I mean, 2v2s in general. Lose respect for that. I mean, it's fun and all, but people get away with doing dumbass shit.
Yes. which is why we need to get better at punishing people, which I need to be able to help out better with said punishment
Yeah,
of poor
and
behavior.
part of that is multitasking, and part of that is economy, just in general, economy and macro and army. I mean, it's not like you have a bad army composition. It's just it's later than it needs to be, or later than it could be. So right here, your spire is just starting, and they've got a shit ton of zealots, things, banes, and roaches. You don't have a roach warren, not that you have to, but it would be something that you would resupply on if they pushed right now.
Yeah, I should start just reflexively building one. I used to do that. I don't know why I stopped.
Nah.
But I'll start reflexively building one.
Yeah. So, anyway, these guys, if they had done that, 6 minutes, 30 second, cool kid push.
33 units at 6:30.
Yeah.
Hut. Blue 32 bio only. Leave your robo behind. Hut. Hike.
Yes. So, I mean, even right now, it's 8 minutes and 22 seconds. I just push. I could maybe hold it, possibly, not too sure. So,
Well, and I think some of it's mind games. I mean, we must have just been intimidating the shit out of them. Annihilating their DT, like, faster than they could do anything. It must have just demoralized them. But I know we can't always rely on that. I don't know why my spire took so long for me to start building. I could have just been being really slow, and maybe I hadn't had my monster yet. Like, I don't know, but that's just going to increase with time. I mean, a lot of these strategies, like, well, we covered a lot of different stuff last night or whenever that was, but a lot of this stuff, it's not like, well, it's kind of new to me, but also, damn, now I just, like, forgot the whole friggin' train of thought that I was gonna say. We were watching some replays last night, talking about how you kind of gotta move with the understanding that you might sack that tiny engagement at the expense of that tiny engagement that you're gonna have to go micro your base for a little bit.
mm-hmm.
And that might set me back a little bit, but as I get better at that, I'm gonna get even better at speeding up my base micro.
Yeah.
Macro, like, whatever it's called. And so, like, that would have got, like, my spire out earlier. That would have got my drones on gas earlier. Things like that.
And
so
so
it's
part of
finding
that-
ways to be faster. Not saying you need to be faster. It's finding ways to be faster. See what I mean?
So part of that is I figured that out a couple games ago, especially that one where I was like, all right, I gotta go, and we had to kill those guys really fast. My APM hit the shit that game, and this is where I start to say, APM can be artificially inflated until it isn't.
Right.
And I mostly find if it's like a 2-minute game, it's like, yeah, that's mostly artificial APM. If it's like a 30-minute game, it's like, no, that's APM doesn't average out over 30 minutes.
Right.
It does, but it averages out evenly, so it's not as easily inflated.
Yes.
And a lot of that is tab through your different, for me, obviously, tab through your different racks and siege factory tanks and starports and whatnot. And as we're over here, I'm not super duper on par always, but I'm always trying to be as we're engaging, queuing up more units, queuing up more barracks and as well, factories, starports, whatnot. But queuing up more units as well, and then either rallying them back here or rallying them over here. Rallying them back here, rallying them all the way back would just mean that we are falling back, and then they are chasing us, and then I've got another army and I laugh in their face. Rallying it over there just means that we have a never-ending army that we laugh in their face. With you, well, actually both of us, I mean, if it's like, you know, we're over here, my Marines are killing shit, and your Lings are running up, and I'm like, oh, there's a pylon overcharging. You are back here, you micro your base, and you're like, oh shit, there's a pylon overcharging. You grab your Lings and come back. And vice versa. I'm dropping down 1 billion mules, and you're like, I stay now, DT, and I run over here and scan. So, things like that. Helping each other kind of multitask is a lot easier than it is in 1v1s, because in 1v1s it's not possible. Also things like, you know, oh, he's dropping on us, because if you're back here, microing your base, and you're like, oh shit, he's dropping on us, and I'm over here, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna drop on his base and make him multitask, so...
Right.
So... multitasking, good, important thing.
Countertasking.
Yes, multitasking, countertasking is a very different thing. Also very good, but it's different. But multitasking, macro, whatnot, very important things that are important to learn.
Yes. Oh, this isn't the game where you get your ghost. Dang it. Your Kerrigan.
Ghost snipes? Oh, my Nova.
Nova, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't actually name most of these replays. But I know which ones are which.
GG on this one.
Yeah, GG.